In the realm of cyberspace, where anonymity reigns supreme, the name anonymous has become synonymous with mystery, intrigue, and rebellion. Born from the depths of the internet, this decentralized collective of hackers and activists has made headlines around the world for its daring exploits and bold declarations of defiance against authority and injustice. In one such instance, an anonymous hacker member emerged from the shadows to highlight a cache of documents that promised to shake the very foundations of our understanding of the world. Among these documents were revelations of giant discoveries, evidence of ancient beings of colossal stature that once roamed the earth, hidden in the annals of history and obscured from public view. The story begins with a cryptic message posted on an internet forum frequented by members of the anonymous collective. In the message, the hacker claimed to have gained access to a trove of classified documents stored on a secure server belonging to a government agency. These documents, the hacker alleged, contained explosive information that had been deliberately concealed from the public eye. The anonymous member posted that throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, author Richard J. Dewhurst documented a series of peculiar accounts detailing the unearthing of oversized humanoid skeletons in North America. These archaeological findings initially pointed towards the existence of a previously unknown indigenous species, bearing a striking resemblance to the mythical race of giants depicted in ancient lore. However, rather cryptically, the reports, accompanying data and physical evidence such as skeletal remains, ancient artifacts, and references to a giant-centric culture were meticulously concealed, destroyed, or kept hidden from the general public. The baffling suppression of these discoveries raises intriguing questions about the potential existence of a forgotten chapter in human history, and hints at a deliberate effort to obscure knowledge of these enigmatic beings from wider scrutiny and understanding. In the initial stages of his research, Richard Dewhurst encountered a significant volume of archaeological findings unearthed by ordinary individuals during the expansion phase of New York settlements. A noteworthy instance highlighted in the report, A History of Livingston Country, New York, 1824, was the unearthing of a burial mound belonging to indigenous peoples, where the excavation revealed the presence of remarkably large humanoid skeletons that were brought to light by Jesse Stanley. The report intricately detailed this discovery, shedding light on the remarkable uncovering of these ancient remains, providing a glimpse into the historical narratives embedded within the region. This notable event underscores the invaluable insights that arise from the unearthing of these archaeological treasures by members of the general populace, offering a unique perspective on the rich heritage and past civilizations that have shaped the landscape of New York. In the early 1820s, there was a significant event where a mound was excavated, uncovering a variety of artifacts, such as arrowheads, a brass kettle, and knives that were found during the excavation process. Moreover, this excavation revealed multiple human skeletons, with one particular skeleton standing out due to its massive size. The jawbone of this gigantic human skeleton was notably large, so much so that Adam Holzlander, who was known as the largest man in the settlement at that time, could place it over his own chin and jaw like a mask, showcasing the immense size of the discovered remains. This discovery sparked intrigue and fascination among the local community, prompting discussions about the existence of such unusually large individuals in the past and their significance in the historical context of the region. In light of the compelling nature of the argument suggesting a possible error by the Institute that initially reported the finding in 1820, it is crucial to consider the multitude of subsequent reports that emerged in connection with various mounds unearthed in the same region. One such report, featured in a publication titled A History of Western New York, 1804 from New York, meticulously documented the unearthing of colossal humanoid remains. These findings were meticulously examined and accurately documented by scientific authorities. This specific report has been noted for its detailed description and precise measurements of the unearthed bones. This substantial body of reports not only adds credence to the initial discovery, but also sheds further light on the consistency and accuracy of the findings across multiple excavations in the region. The comprehensive nature of these accounts reinforces the authenticity of the discoveries, with each subsequent report contributing to a growing body of evidence that substantiates the existence of these remarkable archaeological finds. In the realm of archaeological discoveries, there have been findings of human bones of colossal dimensions that astound with their exceptional state of preservation, allowing for meticulous description and measurement. The skulls uncovered in this intriguing collection possess cavities of such substantial size that they could adequately encase the head of a modern individual, effortlessly fitting like a contemporary hat or cap. Furthermore, the jawbones exhibited in these revelations prove to be of significant dimensions, capable of being placed to align perfectly outside the facial structure of a person from our era. These exceptional features observed extend beyond the skulls and jawbones, as additional skeletal remains unearthed showcase a remarkable consistency in size proportions with the aforementioned cranial and facial bones. A number of these remarkable artifacts have found their home in the display cases of antiquarians, where they remain on exhibition, providing a tangible link to our distant past for those keen on exploring the enigmatic secrets of bygone eras. Contrary to expectation, according to the information presented in this report, the skeletal remains of giants were carefully preserved, curated in museums, and examined by archaeologists in the past. However, in a puzzling turn of events, there is a notable absence of any giant humanoid skeletons currently available for public viewing or research in prominent Native American museums. The question arises, despite the numerous documented discoveries related to these colossal Native American skeletons, why do they seem to be conspicuously absent from contemporary displays or collections? Richard Dewhurst, in his detailed exploration, highlights a disturbing thread throughout his book that points towards a deliberate distortion of the historical narrative by a specific organization across generations. In a poignant quote attributed to Richard Dewhurst, this deception is succinctly encapsulated. The Smithsonian Institution, post-Civil War, implemented a policy that deliberately overlooked any direct foreign influence in the Americas before Columbus's arrival. This strategic exclusion has sparked various interpretations. Some argue that it stemmed from the post-war government's desire to suppress regional and ethnic tensions during the nation's delicate Reconstruction phase. Additionally, certain voices suggest that this exclusion was driven by the expansionist principles rooted in the doctrine of manifest destiny, aiming to conceal the origins of indigenous tribes displaced and decimated by westward expansion. There are also claims that this policy was strategically crafted to counter the Mormon religion's challenges, particularly its belief that the lost tribes of Israel resided in America. This multifaceted approach not only illustrates the complexity of historical narratives, but also underscores the intricate web of political, religious, and social factors at play during that era. Investigating the Smithsonian Institution's potential involvement in concealing the potential existence of humanoid giants raises intriguing questions. Dewhurst suggests that his research indicates a pattern within the Smithsonian's practices of disregarding archaeological findings that conflicted with their established narrative. This pattern seems to be closely linked to Major John Wesley Powell, an esteemed geologist, who played a pivotal role in shaping the exclusionary policies regarding evidence. By delving into Powell's influence, it becomes apparent that he held significant sway over the institution's approach to managing new discoveries, particularly those diverging from established beliefs. During the inception of the Bureau of Ethnology by the United States Congress in 1879, Major John Wesley Powell assumed the esteemed role of its first director, a position he held until his demise in 1902. The Bureau's primary objective was the meticulous relocation of archives, records, and materials pertaining to the indigenous peoples of North America from the Interior Department to the Smithsonian Institution. Major Powell's tenure as the Bureau of Ethnology's director marked a significant period when his unrivaled expertise in American West geography led to a special assignment. Tasked with crafting a detailed account of the ancient tribes and their probable origins, he diligently penned a comprehensive report. Rather than subjecting his work to peer review by fellow experts, archaeologists, or field explorers, Powell swiftly elevated his report to the status of the Smithsonian Institution's official policy, a stance unchallenged for the ensuing century. Major John Wesley Powell authored a report addressed to the Secretary of the Smithsonian Institution named On Limitations to the Use of Some Anthropologic Data. Within this report, he emphatically posited that there was no justification or advantage in pursuing the ancestral roots of indigenous tribes in North America. Powell's viewpoint was articulated clearly through the following excerpt from the report. In delving into the realm of customs, one may stumble upon subtle hints. Yet beyond this surface lies a realm where the findings have often been misappropriated, particularly in attempts to establish connections between the Native American tribes and ancient civilizations from distant corners of the globe. The study of these ancient artifacts has been marred by unnecessary conjecture regarding the potential links between the civilizations they represent and the indigenous tribes of North America from documented history. Therefore, there is no justification for seeking an external, non-indigenous source to account for the advanced knowledge and skills displayed by the ancient inhabitants of North America as evidenced by the artifacts unearthed from the mounds. In light of these reports, Charles Doolittle Walcott, who served as the secretary of the Smithsonian Institution from 1907 to 1927, adopted the Powell Doctrine as the official stance of the institution for the latter part of the 20th century. Interestingly, to this day, the Powell Doctrine continues to be upheld by the Smithsonian, despite the ongoing efforts of contemporary archaeologists and historians to advocate for the recognition of numerous settlement attempts predating the European colonization of the 18th century. This enduring adherence to the Powell Doctrine within the Smithsonian highlights the significance and influence of Walcott's decision, shaping the institution's approach to historical interpretations and archaeological practices throughout the years. Moreover, the persistent advocacy for acknowledging pre-colonial settlement endeavors underscores the continuous evolution and discourse within the field of archaeology, prompting a re-evaluation of historical narratives and perspectives that have long dominated scholarly discussions. Richard Dewhurst, in his research findings, associated the concealment policy with compelling evidence pointing towards an extensive suppression not only of the unearthing of large humanoid skeletons scattered throughout North America, but also of any relics hinting at a potential European presence or migration to the New World prior to Christopher Columbus's colonization ventures. Presently, the prevailing hypothesis regarding the Native Americans' origins revolves around a purely speculative notion suggesting that during the ancient Ice Age, ice bridges formed connecting continents worldwide, enabling migration from Africa to the southern regions of the Americas, despite a lack of concrete evidence supporting this assertion. Dewhurst's investigations highlighted the existence of covert measures aimed at concealing historical truths, emphasizing the need to delve deeper into unraveling the mysteries surrounding the suppression of significant archaeological discoveries and narratives that could potentially reshape our understanding of the past. The ramifications of this policy are profound and multifaceted, making it difficult to fully grasp the extent of its impact. One prominent consequence has been the deliberate suppression of numerous discoveries labeled as out of context. These artifacts were generously offered to the museum with genuine unawareness of its entrenched policy favoring conformity and detracting from diverse perspectives. Complicating matters further, the majority of prestigious universities across the United States have aligning regulations, mirroring the Smithsonian's stance. Consequently, the pursuit of studying alternative narratives in American history has been severely hindered, with researchers facing insurmountable barriers in accessing grants and funding for such endeavors. This widespread stance limits the exploration of varied historical viewpoints and restricts the academic pursuit of a more inclusive understanding of the nation's past. Throughout modern times, the quest for giant humanoid skeletons, although futile, has unveiled a pervasive concealment orchestrated by North American archaeological institutions spanning the United States. This orchestrated suppression notably targets any conflicting evidence or revelations that challenge the Powell Doctrine's credibility. The prevailing scenario hints at a pattern where educational establishments persist in shielding the truth from public knowledge. This cloak of secrecy shrouds the Native American burial sites, renowned for concealing these colossal skeletal remains. Unless independent entities take charge and delve into unearthing these clandestine burial mounds harboring giant humanoid skeletons nationwide, the veil of misinformation propagated by academic circles will likely endure in the foreseeable future. During an excavation in the Lovelock caves in Nevada, a fascinating discovery was unearthed by a team of archaeologists affiliated with the University of California. This intriguing find included a range of peculiar artifacts, most notably the astonishing mummified remains of red-haired giants measuring between 8 to 10 feet in stature. Referred to as the Lovelock giants due to their origin within the confines of the Lovelock cave, these oversized individuals baffled researchers with their extraordinary size. In addition to the giant mummies, the archaeologists stumbled upon a peculiar pair of enormous sandals, distinctly unsuitable for the typical human foot, hinting at the enigmatic nature of these ancient findings. This revelation not only sheds light on the mysterious history of the region, but also raises intriguing questions about the existence of such gigantic individuals in the past, prompting further exploration and analysis to uncover the secrets of the Lovelock giants. During archaeological excavations, a pair of sandals measuring 15 inches in length was unearthed, bearing distinct indications of previous wear. Notably, a handprint of considerable size was identified on one of the stones within the confines of Lovelock Cave. Many of the artifacts recovered from this site currently reside in various museums and private collections, underscoring their historical significance. In a notable discovery from 1931, 2 colossal skeletons of red-haired giants were uncovered in close proximity to the cave, sparking intense curiosity and speculation. These extraordinary findings have prompted widespread speculation and intrigue, fueling beliefs that an ancient race of giant humans once roamed the Earth, leaving an indelible mark on history. The prevalence of enigmatic humanoid giant skeletons unearthed throughout various locations in North America has sparked widespread curiosity and intrigue within the archaeological community. Particularly noteworthy are the perplexing discoveries that challenge conventional explanations, coupled with the unsettling concealment of conflicting findings by reputed institutions such as the Smithsonian Institute, casting a shadow over the realm of North American studies. The unexplained disappearance of hundreds of vials containing highly infectious viruses from an Australian laboratory has raised serious concerns regarding biosecurity and the oversight of hazardous materials. This troubling event, confirmed by an official report released at the end of 2024, involved the vanishing of 323 vials from Queensland's Public Health Virology Laboratory. These vials contained dangerous pathogens including hendrovirus, hantavirus, and lyssavirus. The incident has prompted widespread unease among both public health officials and the broader community, as questions mount about how such a significant breach could have occurred and what consequences may still be unfolding. In a surprising twist, the hacking group Anonymous claimed on social media that they had uncovered internal documents related to the missing virus files from the Australian laboratory. According to their posts, the documents revealed inconsistencies in inventory logs and internal communications that allegedly showed officials knew about the disappearance months before it was publicly disclosed. Anonymous suggested that the breach had been quietly downplayed to avoid public panic. Their revelations quickly gained attention, sparking renewed concerns about transparency, accountability, and the possibility of a cover-up. The issue first came to light in the year 2021, when a malfunction was reported in one of the laboratory's freezers. This prompted a closer inspection of the contents, ultimately revealing that several vials were unaccounted for. However, it was not until August of 2023 that investigators officially confirmed the disappearance of the samples. This long delay between the initial discovery and the formal acknowledgement of the breach sparked frustration, as many felt the situation had not been handled with the urgency it warranted. Queensland's Health Minister Tim Nicholls addressed public concerns by noting that while these viruses could, in theory, be used to cause harm, doing so would require an advanced level of scientific expertise. Thus, the immediate risk to the public was considered low. Nevertheless, the inability to verify whether the samples had been destroyed, relocated, or taken has led to growing unease over the protocols in place to secure such sensitive materials. The absence of proper record-keeping and the lack of transparency have left many wondering how closely these facilities are being monitored. Queensland's Chief Health Officer, John Gerard, suggested that the missing samples may have been transferred to another freezer without accurate documentation. Alternatively, they may have been disposed of incorrectly or destroyed during a routine sterilization process. Yet without proper records, these theories remain speculative. Investigators could not confirm with confidence whether the vials had been accounted for or were still untraceable, and this ambiguity continues to cast a shadow over the laboratory's operations. The pathogens involved in this case are among the most serious known to science. Hendra virus, first identified in the year 1994, is a zoonotic virus primarily transmitted by fruit bats and known to infect horses and humans. In human cases, it carries a notably high mortality rate of around 57%. Hantavirus, another zoonotic threat, originates in rodents and is transmitted to humans through contact with contaminated fluids or inhalation of aerosolized particles. The resulting illness, hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, can lead to severe respiratory distress and has a fatality rate of nearly 38%. Lysovirus, closely related to rabies, is almost invariably fatal once symptoms begin to manifest. Its presence among the missing samples is especially alarming, given its extreme severity. Despite the potential danger posed by these viruses, Queensland health officials have emphasised that there is no immediate public threat. Dr. Gerard explained that such viruses degrade rapidly outside controlled environments. Without proper freezing, the pathogens would lose their infectious capability within a short span of time. He also speculated that the missing vials may have been unintentionally destroyed in an autoclave, a standard procedure used in laboratories to neutralize hazardous biological materials. Still, the fact that such a process was not documented adds to the uncertainty and public concern. One of the most troubling elements of this incident is the significant bureaucratic delay. It took approximately 1 year for investigators to receive clearance to inspect the malfunctioning freezer, during which time no meaningful progress was made in locating the samples. This lag in response has been heavily criticized by both the scientific community and members of the public, who believe that such matters should be dealt with swiftly and transparently. The delayed investigation suggests that more rigorous protocols are urgently needed to handle and track sensitive biological materials. This incident has sparked broader discussions about how laboratories safeguard dangerous pathogens. It has become increasingly clear that relying on manual documentation and outdated tracking systems leaves too much room for human error. Experts are now advocating for stricter regulations, improved technological oversight, and faster response mechanisms to ensure that any future discrepancies are caught and resolved without delay. While there is currently no direct evidence to suggest that the vials were deliberately removed or taken for harmful purposes, the mere possibility is enough to alarm both authorities and the public. In a time when concerns over bioterrorism, laboratory leaks, and the potential misuse of scientific knowledge are growing, even a small breach can have significant implications. The uncertainty surrounding the fate of the missing samples reveals how critical it is for laboratories handling infectious agents to maintain impeccable standards of accountability. Officials continue to assert that the situation poses no danger to public health. However, the lack of definitive answers leaves open a range of possibilities. Whether the disappearance was the result of simple mismanagement, procedural oversight, or something more troubling. The fact remains that 323 vials containing some of the world's most dangerous viruses went missing without explanation. Until conclusive evidence proves that the vials were rendered harmless or properly destroyed, this incident will likely continue to fuel speculation. It serves as a cautionary tale about the challenges and responsibilities that come with working in the realm of virology and biosecurity. The scientific community and regulatory bodies alike must take the lessons from this event seriously, ensuring that stricter oversight, better documentation, and enhanced response protocols become the new standard. In the meantime, the mysterious case of the missing virus vials stands as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance when dealing with materials that could, if mishandled, have far-reaching consequences. The mysterious disappearance of hundreds of vials containing dangerous viruses from an Australian laboratory has sparked a wave of concern, not just for the breach itself, but for what it could mean if these pathogens were ever released into the public. While officials have attempted to reassure the public that the threat is minimal, many are not convinced. The idea that deadly viruses like Hendra, hantavirus, or lysovirus could be mishandled, misplaced, or deliberately released has left people uneasy. Even more troubling is the thought that such a release could occur quietly, without the public ever realizing what was happening until it was too late. One of the core fears is how easily a pathogen could spread before anyone became aware of it. Many viruses have incubation periods where symptoms do not appear immediately, allowing a person to unknowingly infect others. If one of the missing samples somehow made it into circulation, either accidentally or through more intentional means, it could silently move through communities. With symptoms often mimicking those of common illnesses, an outbreak could be mistaken for something far less serious, giving it time to grow and spread before any containment efforts began. The worry isn't just about accidents or poor oversight. Some fear the potential for these viruses to fall into the wrong hands. With global concerns about biosecurity and bioterrorism already on the rise, the idea that lethal pathogens could simply vanish from a secure facility raises questions about who might have access to them and what their intentions could be. While using such viruses effectively would require significant expertise, history has shown that underestimated threats often cause the most damage. Even a single mishandled vial could trigger a situation with devastating consequences. There is also concern about transparency and trust. If a release did occur, would the public be told? In the past, some authorities have hesitated to fully disclose health risks out of fear of causing panic. This has led to speculation that a slow-moving or localized outbreak might be explained away or minimized until it became unmanageable. In an era where public trust in institutions is already fragile, the possibility of hidden dangers and withheld information only fuels suspicion. In the end, the true danger may not be the viruses themselves, but the uncertainty surrounding them. When something this serious goes unaccounted for, it forces people to imagine worst-case scenarios. Whether by accident or design, the release of even one vial could reshape lives and communities, and we may not even know it's happening until it's already too late. In a recent and widely discussed update, a member of the hacker collective known as Anonymous claimed that billions of genetically modified mosquitoes had been released into the wild without widespread public knowledge or understanding of the potential long-term consequences. This statement reignited debates surrounding genetic engineering, public health, and ecological risk. According to the information shared by this member, the Environmental Protection Agency had approved a proposal by Oxitec, a biotechnology company based in the United Kingdom, to release approximately 2.4 billion genetically modified mosquitoes over a period of 4 years, ending in 2024. This large-scale release initially began as a trial in Florida and was later expanded into California's Central Valley, a region already struggling with rising mosquito populations. The genetically modified mosquitoes released by Oxitec are exclusively male, which means they do not bite humans or animals. The technology behind this approach is based on the idea that the male mosquitoes carry a gene that prevents female offspring from surviving to adulthood. As only female mosquitoes bite and transmit diseases like malaria and dengue fever, this method is expected to significantly reduce disease transmission without the use of traditional pesticides. While the theory behind this approach appears promising, especially in terms of reducing mosquito-borne illnesses, the Anonymous member warned of the deeper, less understood consequences of releasing genetically modified organisms into natural ecosystems. They emphasized that genetic interventions, even when aimed at disease prevention, must be thoroughly analyzed not only for their immediate impact, but also for their long-term ecological implications. One of the primary concerns raised by critics is the disruption of natural ecological balance. Mosquitoes, though widely considered pests, play important roles in food chains, serving as a crucial food source for birds, bats, amphibians, and other insects. If genetically modified mosquitoes successfully reduce or eliminate certain mosquito populations, these predators may struggle to find adequate food. This could trigger cascading effects through the ecosystem, with population declines in certain species and potential overpopulation in others. The disruption of these relationships can destabilize entire habitats. Another serious issue is the potential for resistance to develop among mosquito populations. Just as bacteria have developed resistance to antibiotics, it is possible that a segment of the mosquito population might survive the genetic intervention and pass along their traits to future generations. Over time, this could lead to a dominant mosquito population that is unaffected by the introduced gene, making control efforts even more difficult. Resistance development is a common concern in pest control strategies and highlights the need for constant evaluation and adaptive management. The Anonymous update also drew attention to the possibility of unintended genetic consequences, particularly regarding non-target species. In natural environments, interbreeding between closely related species can occur. There is a risk that the genetically modified mosquitoes could pass on their engineered genes to other mosquito species or even to unrelated insects. This unintended gene flow could result in ecological changes that were never anticipated or accounted for during the initial risk assessment. Furthermore, beneficial insects such as pollinators may also be unintentionally affected if they come into contact with these modified organisms or share the same habitats. An additional concern is the uncontrolled spread of modified genes. Once genetically engineered organisms are introduced into the environment, it is extremely difficult to contain or reverse their impact. Gene transfer through mating could allow these traits to persist and proliferate in ways that cannot be easily monitored. If the altered genes provide a reproductive advantage, they may spread rapidly and dominate native populations, potentially altering local biodiversity and changing the character of entire ecosystems. Critics argue that while the intention behind such technologies is rooted in public health, the potential for irreversible genetic consequences is too high to be taken lightly. There is also a possibility that changes in mosquito populations could influence disease transmission in unexpected ways. While the goal is to reduce the spread of specific diseases such as dengue fever or Zika virus, decreasing one mosquito population may inadvertently create space for another vector species to rise in prevalence. This could shift the disease landscape, leading to an increase in diseases that were previously less common in the region. Disease ecology is highly complex, and any significant manipulation of vector populations should be accompanied by detailed modeling and continuous monitoring. The anonymous member stressed that while the genetic modification of mosquitoes may offer a solution to pressing public health challenges, it also opens the door to a wide range of scientific and ethical concerns. Public consent and awareness, they noted, are fundamental to the responsible use of biotechnology. In this case, many people were unaware that such large-scale releases had even begun, let alone the extent to which they had progressed. Although the Environmental Protection Agency approved the project, critics argue that more public dialogue should have taken place before moving forward with such a potentially transformative initiative. The use of genetically modified organisms in nature remains one of the most hotly contested issues in modern science. While there is no doubt that scientific innovation has the potential to solve some of humanity's most urgent problems, the speed at which these technologies are being developed and deployed has left many feeling uncertain and concerned.